German Nationals 2023. Probably one of my most successful and favorite comps ever. I got my first ever NR, a lot of PRs, and in the end I even won OH. Because the comp was so special to me, I'm doing a recap video where I go over each event and share my highlights of the comp. On Friday, the first event I did was Megaminx. I got a bad 47 average and a 41 single. I even counted a 52, so that was not the best start into the comp. I later decided to delete the videos of the first round Megaminx, so what you just saw was a 41.79 that I got in finals. I didn't film any of the next events, so here's a random 7x7 solve that I did at home. And the next events after Megaminx were 6x6, 7x7, square 1 and clock, which I didn't really care about. I messed up 7x7 and square 1, but I got double PR in 6x6 with a mean of 235 and a single of 228. And I also got overall PBs in clock with an average of 9.11 and an 845 single. Now there were two events left for me on Friday, which were Megaminx finals and 5x5 first round. Going into Megaminx finals, I had two big goals, which were a sub 45 average and a sub 40 single. My first solve was a 45.67, which is a rather bad solve, but I had a very nice and easy two-look last layer, which still kinda saved the solve. The second solve was 41.79, and I'm actually pretty happy with that one because I executed the last layer very nicely and everything else was also pretty good. Then the third solve was insane. Everything flowed perfectly, I had no mistakes, I recognized my PLL pretty fast, executed the ALK perfectly, and got an insane 34.84 overall PB single, which is my first ever sub 35. So at that point I was already super happy with that round. The last two solves were pretty normal, a 44 and a 45, but I had many mistakes during S12 and both of the solves could have been a lot better. My final average was 43.71, so I achieved both of my goals for this round. After that was 5x5, but nothing special happened there. I got pretty bad times, but yeah, I don't really care about 5x5 anyway. So that was day one. I already got some crazy times and I also got my first ever nationals podium in Megaminx. First event was 3x3 first round. Basically I couldn't really warm up because windows were opened and it was pretty cold in the venue. On top of that, I usually never get good results in the first rounds of the day, so I already knew that I wouldn't get a good average in this round. The first solve, however, was still pretty good, a 7.39, but then I messed up and got a 9.52, 10.22, 10.92 and 9.85 plus 2, so the average was 10.22, which is terrible. The next events were Pyraminx and Scube. I didn't film any of them, so I just used random solves from a different comp. In Scube I got a 5.77 average with a 4.47 single, which is alright for me. And in Pyraminx I got a 5.34 average and a 3.80 single, which is pretty bad, but there are two more rounds. After Pyraminx was 2x2 and I got some pretty nice results. The first one was a 2.57, the second one was a 2.61 with a very big lockup during CLL. And then the third one was very nice. It was a one look and I was even able to cancel moves, so I got a 1.85. And then the last two solves were 2.35 and 3 flat, and that was a PR average of 2.51. 4x4 first round. I won't go into too much detail for that, but I got a 33.48 average and a 32.45 single, which is really good for me, but not PR. In Scube second round I got a 5.86 average with a 3.45 single. I would say that's around my average, but I don't really care anyway because I don't practice Scube. Now the final event of the day, OH round 1. The warm-up didn't go the best because it was still pretty cold, but I went into the round with a good feeling nonetheless. Because I wasn't too warmed up, I had no nerves going into the first solve. In the inspection I saw a pretty good cross solution with a nice 3 pair as my first pair. The rest of F2L was also very nice, and I got a good last layer too. When I looked at the timer and saw that I got a 7:59 NR single, I felt so happy because it was my first NR ever. For the rest of the average I couldn't really concentrate anymore, and I got 2 14s, a 17, but also a 9 with a cool one look glass layer. My average was 1282 in the end. That was day 2, next is day 3 with lots of final rounds. Okay, so I also competed in Scube and Blind, but nothing special happened there. The first event of the final day was 3x3 round 2. So for 3x3 I had one big goal, and that was to get a mid-7 average in one of the 3 rounds I had left. The first one already started terrible, 4 of my solves were mid or high 9s, and only the third one was a 744. Pyraminx round 2 was amazing. I got a 375 PR2 average with a 205 single. I think scrambles were pretty nice, and especially the last one. There was a 5-move solution with 3 tips, and that was also the scramble I got my 205 PR single on. Finals were also quite good. The first and the last scrambles were amazing, and because of that I counted a 306, which is very good for me. The average was 396 and my best single was 266. OH round 2 was pretty bad. I got an 1199 average and a 1098 single, but the last solve was interesting. I found a good solution and finished OLL at already 6.3 seconds. Then I got ePerm, I messed up recognition and execution and got a 1098. Next was 2x2 second round. On the first one I got a 229, then the second one was a 225 with a pretty nice CLL. The third one was a 3-move layer into one of the best CLLs, and I got a 133, which is PR single. On the fourth solve I got a 289 with pretty bad execution, and my final solve was 368. This resulted in a 248 average, which beat my PR average of the previous day by 0.03. Finals was bad, I got a 3.11 average. In 4x4 round 2 I got a good average and an amazing overall PB single of 28.22. That's also my first ever sub 29. The average was also enough to make it into finals. There, however, I got a 37 average, which is not that good. Here in the background you're seeing my 28.2, by the way. Next was 3x3 semifinals. I started with a 9 and a 10, and I knew if I continued like that I wouldn't make it into finals, but luckily I got 2 7.9s and a 633. 2 finals are left now, OH and 3x3. For OH my goal was to get PR average, which is 1095 at the moment, and for 3x3 I still wanted to get that mid-7 average. On the first scramble of OH finals I found nothing good in inspection, so I had to go with a very bad solution. The time was 11:59, not horrible. Second solve I got a 11:58, very consistent time so far. I continued to get mid to high 11s and 112, and my final average was 11:72, which is not that good. It was still enough to win, but I had mixed feelings because Magnus would have deserved the win a lot more. But I think I can still be proud that I didn't mess up too much and won with a more or less solid average. The 3x3 final was head-to-head. My first solve was a 974, but it's not recorded. The next solve was an 805, that's alright. On the third one I messed up on PLL and had to redo the whole solve, and so it was an 18. But then the last 2 solves were both sub 7. On the fourth solve I had a lucky OLL skip, which is why I got a 665. On the final solve, everything went perfectly and I got a 694. So that was an 824 average, and that put me 5th in finals, but there was so much more potential. The 9.7 would have only had to be a low or sub 8 for a 7.6 average, and and that would have been enough for 3rd place. But I can't complain because that weekend so much insane and unexpected already happened for me. My top 3 highlights are my OHNR, my OH win, and my Megaminx 34 single. That is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, it would be great if you give this video a like because it was a lot of work to edit. Have a good day and see you next time.